Flawless Fast Pitch community. Today, we are completely honored to be welcoming Fast Pitch royalty to our show. This is the amazing Monica Abbott, whom I met at the NCAA convention and actually bowed before because she deserves that kind of attention. In case you are living under a softball rock, okay, she has been the winner of the Honda Award. She broke the record for most strikeouts in NCAA Division I. She pitched for Tennessee, and when she did, everybody wanted Monica Abbott's motion. And probably most prominently, she is the $1 million arm for the Scrapyard Dogs. And she is breaking barriers, ladies and gentlemen. She is the first woman to ever accomplish anything like that. And I just want to lead with that because I had seen an interview with you where you had said, that when initially that was offered to you, you almost hesitated. You were almost like, how could that be me? And I want you to just sort of go into that for a minute because to me it's like, who else would it be?
Yeah, first off, just thanks for having me on the show. I'm glad that, we could find a time to make this work and hopefully share a little bit of just my story and my knowledge about the game and inspire some of our listeners, both the pitchers, but more importantly, the parents and everyone that's supporting the athletes as well. So it's just great to be a part of the show today.
Oh, I'm so happy about that. Yeah, we are beyond honored to have you. And so tell us about some things that are coming up with the Scrapyard Dogs, and tell us about that initial feeling of, wow, I'm the first woman ever to break this gigantic glass ceiling.
Yeah, so, I went to the University of Tennessee, and then I played in the 2008 Olympics. And then after the Olympics, I started to play in the professional league and overseas, but there wasn't like a huge avenue for me to continue my career. So I went overseas and I played in Japan, and I still continued to play in the NPF for quite some time for just trying to find a way to continue my career. I felt like I still had so much to give to the softball world. I felt like I had so much more I could be as an athlete. I felt like I hadn't reached my peak. I felt like I could still get better. I could still do more and be more as a pitcher and as an athlete, and still had this itch and this bone to compete and to just inspire future generations. I really saw, while the softball world was kind of like focusing on college, I saw such an opportunity and an avenue and a chance for people outside of college. And so I continued to play. And, last year I was overseas and I got a call by the Scrapyard Dogs out of Houston, and they asked me if I wanted to play. And at first I was kind of like, no, I'm good. I've been playing with the Chicago Bandits. We had just won a championship. I'd been there. I created a home there. I really loved that organization. And at first I was like, no, I'm loyal to them. And then as I got to think about it, they did offer me like quite a bit of money. They offered me $1 million and over a set of my contract years. And the more I thought about it, I was like, this amount of money is unheard of in our sport. Oh, and although I have this loyalty and this strong heart to the Chicago organization, if I don't take this opportunity, if I don't open a door, if I don't take the chance to go out of my comfort zone, to build something for someone else, if I don't have loyalty to the parents that drive 10 hours every day to create this dream for their kids, if I don't have the loyalty and create this opportunity for the 8-year-old that wants to be the next Monica Abbott, the next, the next Kiki Stokes, the next Brittany Cervantes. If I don't create those dreams in those kids and give them that opportunity, that vision that they can make $1 million, that they can play softball for a living professionally. If I don't create that dream in not only the kids, but in the parents and in the people that support us, then like, what am I doing? What am I doing myself? So I really had to look at the whole picture, and that's when I knew I had this like heart-to-heart moment. I meditated on it, said some prayers to the good man upstairs, I was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I've been playing a long time, and now I can impact this sport in a way that no one else can, because there has to be a first, and there has to be someone to create that dream and vision that people haven't seen. And that's when I knew that I was gonna come on down to Houston, Texas, and play for the Scrapyard Dogs.
So if you're not taking notes out there, I mean, come on, let's get on it. Obviously, you can see I'm taking notes. But what I think that this is analogous to is, we had, early in the 20th century, they thought the 4-minute mile was impossible, right? Everybody thought the 4-minute mile was impossible. And then one person breaks it, and the following year, like 20, 30, 40, 50, all these people are breaking it. And I think seeing you do this, and it's like, oh my God, it's just to give you guys an idea, like people in MPF, like they're happy making not that they're happy making $5,000, but that's a lot of the time, like what they're getting paid like per season. So this is a huge jump up.
The big thing is like maybe women's sports in general, like everyone does it as a side job, like everyone does it as an added bonus to whatever their career is. Maybe their full-time job is a college coach or a high school teacher, or they give lessons full-time. But I don't see Buster Posey out there giving lessons all the time. He's a professional athlete, so like that accountability of like being every day, being an athlete, being a professional female athlete, and being able to wake up and say like, hey, how am I going to get better to be a professional athlete today? And that's huge. So that taking that accountability from going, hey, Britt Vaughn, hey, Shelby Penley, hey, Sierra Romero, you don't have to make $5,000. You need to ask for more. How can you do more? How can you be more? How can you once you start raising your standards, then everyone else's standards will raise. And all it has to be is it has to be done first. You got to create that vision and that dream for those around you, so they know they can do it too, right? They got to have that confidence to ask as well.
And now with the 2020 Olympics, I feel like the barriers are just kind of being broken again in the sport. So it's just like, it's an incredible time for our sport, and I just feel like so blessed to be a part of it, like, every day. It's pretty amazing. Oh my God, I have a million questions to ask you, but one that I know a ton of my girls want to ask too, because, from 2000, all the way up until 2007, people watching you on television all the time were saying, I wanted, Monica Abbott's motion. That was like a thing. People come in requesting, like, I want Monica Abbott's motion. And with that really low start and that low load and everything like that. And then very recently you changed that. And can you tell us a little bit about like what prompted you to change your motion and like how that's furthered you and so on?
Well, I think, I don't think that it didn't really change. I kind of altered and evolved. So every year you pitch, and as you get better, the pitching motion I had in high school isn't going to be the same as the pitching motion I had in college versus my freshman year versus my senior year versus my rookie year pro ball to my, my 10th season in the MPF. So every year just trying to evolve and get better and create better mechanics, and not only better mechanics, but to use my body better. How can I create my form to be a power source? How can I get my hip into the right position to get a better arm circle, to get more snap or spin on the ball? Those are the things that you're trying to evolve. So I moved from that low position to create that create that load, to create a pitching load, to create a huge pitching hip angle for your hip so that you can explode out. So it's not, pitchers pitch on a flat surface. We don't have the luxury of a hill like baseball pitchers do. So we can't stand on the mound and just expect to create good movement and motion. Like, we have to do something to get our bodies going. We have to do something to create that load and that explosion forward towards home plate.
Yeah, and your leg drive is Oh my God, phenomenal. So, I mean, it's amazing. Also, Monica, and I'm tall, is like way above me. So to see her get down that low and then explode up and out, that's an amazing thing, right? But I wanted to talk to you about how playing in Japan has affected you, because a lot of people, we also spoke with Michelle Smith in the same avenue, and she, has obviously she's fluent in Japanese, which is amazing, and she just has so many insights coming from, because the Japanese have a very different perspective on sports and on work ethic and everything than we do. So how do you think that's affected you as a player?
I think playing in Japan has given me such a. First off, I'm like so thankful because it gave me an opportunity to continue my career over there. They have a very successful professional league in Japan, so it's allowed me to develop as an athlete over there when I didn't really have that avenue year round here in the States. So I'm so thankful for being able to play for Toyota and continue my career over there. But I think, the attention to detail is unmatched over there. And also the persistence to work on that one thing. And they really break it down, that persistence that they use on everything that they do, from just watching, breaking it down to, hey, my pointer finger is doing this on one pitch, so they'll do it 1,000 times to try and, change it. So whatever they're doing, their persistence and attention to detail is just, I think, huge.
I had recently visited. It had been like a long-term dream of mine to go there, because I love Japanese culture, and I couldn't believe it. That was something that just blew me away, like the work ethic and how the Shinkansen runs so incredibly on time, even when there's earthquakes, and even when and I think that's just something that a lot of the time we'll be like, okay, well, yeah, that's good, stop. But I think that we need to put a little bit more of that attention to detail, and that is something that makes, that's why we love now Japanese products, and that's why, they have such a great system over there. And I just think it's something that's good to translate into our own lives a little bit more.
Yes, but I definitely agree. I think it's just that attention to detail is so huge. And if you can add that into your life on the softball field or in school or in your family life, taking care of those little things, and also just, celebrating those little things when they're successful, because that is just as important as working to get them, is to celebrating them when you do make that adjustment. That's important.
That is an excellent point. And I wanted to talk to you about, now you have a new line of cleats coming out with Ringer, and this is just so exciting, because Ringer by far, and ladies, you know this, I am not in any way sponsored or paid by Ringer. I just think they make absolutely the best product out there for us as pitchers, as female athletes. Nobody makes anything that has that great pitching toe to it. So tell us about these new cleats. Very exciting.
Yes. I started working with Ringer a couple of years ago, and we're just now putting out a Monica Abbott cleat. And actually, I'm pretty pumped about it. Obviously, there's going to be the pitching toe available, but there's also ones without the pitching toe as well. So Ringer is a huge company. They are awesome because they work solely with softball. So they cater to the softball athlete, and they're not going to do baseball. They're not going to do football. You are getting a softball specific cleat, and that is huge. Also, they've been around the softball world forever, and as you know, they're durable and they're light. They mold to your foot, so that they take both. I don't know, podiatrists. Those types of effects into account too. But I'm pretty pumped about coming out with this new cleat, getting that out there for some of the kids to kind of check out and get if they like them as well. It's a huge partnership for me, and I can't be more excited about it. It's a great company to work with, and really part of my family now.
Oh, That's so, I mean, that's just so exciting to me. And also, guys, if you have not seen the Ringer ads, or if you haven't done like my online training stuff, the Elite Pitchers Blueprint, I've put those ads in there because I think they're so inspirational. And seeing you kind of doing some cross training out there, because I don't know who else follows Monica Abbott on Twitter, but if you don't follow Monica Abbott on Twitter, you better get on that, because you give a lot of insights into, I mean, you cross-train hard. So tell us a little bit about like why you value cross-training and kind of like what that does for you.
Well, I think, so just cross-training can be anything, just off the softball field training. But obviously, the better shape I'm in off the field, the more I can use that to my ability on the field. So, and I can also cater my workouts and the exercises that you do specific to your position. So you can work on, if you're a slapper, working on ladder drills, quick feet. If you're an outfielder, working on taking those back angles through your workout as well. If you're a pitcher, lunges, things like that. So you can cater to certain types of your workouts to what you do on the softball field, and it can directly translate, which is just so incredible. And really, it's just using a little bit of imagination, a little bit of knowledge. And feel free to follow me on social media, because I often post a lot of those things as well, but to give you guys ideas. But I really do think that it really translates to your success on the field.
Yes. I've been a personal trainer for well over a decade, and I think that a lot of the time with female athletes, more so than male athletes, they are limited by the fact that they refuse to cross-train, and then they get to college and they start cross-training for the first time, and they're so sore from it because they've never done it before. And I think that's something that if cross-training is integrated on a better scale in a high school environment, and even just little stuff, even sometimes in middle school, like yoga or something like that, it just takes your mind to another level in addition to your body, because you can push yourself that much harder.
I think the biggest thing is that you don't have to do a lot if you're doing it smart. If you don't have to do a lot of stuff if you're doing it smart, and you don't have to do a lot of weight. You can. I've done it where I've done a lot of weight. I've done it where I've done no weight at all. There's lots of different ways to train. But you gotta find what works for you. And I do recommend at any age, working on your agilities, footwork, your core strength. That's really important. And also, just working on just mobility and stability type of exercises, because those can really make a difference in your game.
Okay, ladies, are you writing this down? This is like one of the best pitchers in the entire world, and she's talking about all the stuff we talk about all the time, that core strength and the mobility and the stability is so important, especially as pitchers. You have to have that mobility in your hip. It's so important. If your hips are locking up.
It takes time. It takes time to build. To build that up. And honestly, like, I was one of those athletes. I did not really train. I worked a lot on softball skills as a young athlete. I didn't really work on anything physical, like agilities or things like that as a kid, until I got to college. But when I was younger, it wasn't popular. Now, ladies, like, you guys are so lucky. Now, like, there's so much knowledge out there. It's fun and exciting, and there's so many good. It wasn't popular for kids to train. Now it is, and you guys are so much better because of it. I wish I had started earlier, but when I was younger, it wasn't the thing to do. The thing to do was to go to the softball field and take 1,000,000 reps.
Yes. Yes.
That's actually what I did. But now people are doing ladders and stuff at such a younger age, and they're becoming better athletes at an earlier age because of it.
That's awesome. That's such a great point. How did you get started into pitching at the very beginning, and what has been your huge motivation driving you throughout?
I started pitching, when I was, I don't know, I must have been sixth grade, so 12, 13 years old. I was a little bit of a late bloomer as far as starting pitching and stuff like that, but I played every other position, and then I once I started pitching, I fell in love. I felt like this was my home. This is where I belong. I loved being a part of the game on every pitch. I felt like I could contribute to a team's success, and I loved that part of it. And all these years later, I'm still in love with it.
I know. I seriously dream about pitching. Like, it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. But what do you feel like has been your big motivator, your big drive? Is it just the love of the game, or have there been other people or other things that have really influenced you to have you perform at such a high level?
For me, I find motivation in a lot of different things. I think, of course, there's always, at the core, there's that love of the game. It's the love of competing, just being able to bring it with everything that I have in those big moments. That's huge. That's so exciting. But also, I can get motivation from a teammate doing really well. I get motivation when a teammate needs me to pick them up. I get motivation when a teammate steps up for me. I get motivated when fans get really excited, or little kids get excited to see me, or when parents even get pumped too. I think there's so many different ways you can be motivated, and so I draw motivation from a lot of different areas, but for sure, I think at the core of it is just being able to bring it with everything that I have, and know that I was fully prepared to bring it in that moment that my team needs me. And that's one of the great things about softball is you don't know when that moment is going to be. I don't know when they're going to need me to make that great pitch. It could be the first inning with no one on base. It could be the sixth inning with the bases loaded. You don't know when your team needs you to really step up for them. And that moment right there really motivates me to just bring it with all I have.
Oh, I love that. It is so true, but I haven't heard it put that way before, that you have to do your due diligence and you have to stay motivated because you need to pick your team up too. I love that. Write this down, girls. Write this down. Or just listen to this over and over again, however you prefer. Insofar as advice for parents, because I think it's a difficult relationship sometimes that moms and dads have with their athletes, because parents kind of want to push sometimes, and it's hard to kind of find balance. So do you have any advice for the parents out there?
What kind of advice? I think parents are such a huge part of an athlete's success. But I think, having balance is important. Parents need to remember to be the parent that pushes their kid, but also be the parent that says, hey, you didn't do very well. Let's go get some ice cream. Having that balance of both being the motivator, but also being the person that allows them to still remember that this game is meant to be fun, and that, when they're having fun, they're gonna play their best too. So there's definitely that balance as a parent. And I think, as your daughter or your son or daughter in this case, as them, you'll be able to help adjust with them as well.
Yes, because I think there's I think you see a lot of extremes. Like sometimes parents where they kind of coddle their kids, they don't want to push them at all, and then sometimes parents that are just kind of constantly yelling. And I think, you have to push your kids a little bit because you push them academically. You know what I mean? Anything anyone wants to be good at, there's got to be some pushing going on, but it can't be to the point of this is horrible and now I hate it. But
and I think maybe one of the good things, I know a lot of times at events and stuff, we always talk about the kids setting goals, but maybe it's important, that conversation in the car on the ride home is, as a parent, to just say, hey, Sally, what are your goals? What do you want to do with softball? Do you want to try and win this next tournament? Do you want to go 3 for 3? Are you trying to get more strikeouts? And then help your kids you can help your kids reach them by, giving them a process to reach it. Instead of just being like, hey, you need to practice. Like, okay, well, what if we practice twice a week? We could do that. What if we practiced, once a week we practice at home and once a week we practice with a coach? You can come up with that process to reach your daughter's goals. So then you're sharing as a family, as a partnership, as a mother-daughter relationship, as a father-daughter relationship, as a mother-father and daughter relationship. You guys are all in that process to reach that big goal for her. And then that makes it that much more fun for when she does.
And it unites everyone as a family because, I think all girls who have traveled softball with their parents have that great opportunity that you don't realize until you're older, that you have all this time traveling to tournaments and doing all these things with your parents where you get to bond with them that other people just don't get in growing up. You know what I mean? Where you get to have these relationships with your parents that you're building for the rest of your life that, people who don't play travel sports don't always get that. But so I know you're super busy, so I just wanted to ask is there any big closing thought that you'd like to give, or like a message that you'd like to give to all our viewers out there to kind of help them to get to that next level?
Hey, the one thing that I would say is, y'all just, like I said before, get out there and prepare for that moment. You never know in our game when your moment is going to come. You never know if they're going to need you to get a hit, sacrifice bunt, if you're going to work your way to a walk or you're going to strike that person out in the bottom of the seventh. You never know when that moment is. And all you can do is prepare for it, and you can prepare to bring it in that moment. That's huge right there. Follow me on social media if you guys want, at Monica Abbott, and also come see me with the Scrapyard Dogs if you get a chance.